Okay, as you can see, CTV's political commentator Scott Reid joining us now to talk Canadian politics. Scott, always good to see you in person. Hope you had a nice weekend.
I did, yes. Right. I understand the federal government is considering invoking the Emergencies Act in order to get the Leafs further into the postseason, either this year or some other in the distant future.
Yeah. Next year. There's always
next year.
Season, Scott. Okay, we got to talk about the here and now, though, when it comes to politics as well. And we talked about this in December. Yes. Canada Post, its members, the Union Cup W, say they're going to be going on strike Friday morning. There's always a question, when does the government intervene? What do they do?
Well, it's a real thorny mess because you remember, people say, oh, they're walking out possibly. Workers are due now. They served notice. They're going to walk out on Friday at midnight. The deal expires. But this isn't the second time they'll walked out in 6 months. In some ways, it's an extension of the first labor strike.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, the federal government basically said, listen, we're suspending this for a number of months to see if we can work out a deal. And no deal has been worked out. And frankly, they're really at loggerheads. And all of this comes at the same time that an independent report has looked at the structure of Canada Post, options for its future, and basically says, listen, the thing is operating fundamentally as a bankrupt enterprise. The business case for Canada Post as it's currently constructed doesn't make sense. So it really makes you think there's cause for pessimism. How will the federal government react as a consequence? Will it restructure Canada Post? Will it alter its mandate? Will it order workers back? Can it order workers back? Will they comply? So it's going to be a tangled political mess. And now we have a junior labor minister. We have a fellow who was appointed last week, John Zaricelli, here from Ontario. Guy's been in his job for a month, and he's going to have a hot potato.
Yeah, he really is.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear some of the union reps saying that, they really got a notice saying that, hey, we're going to change the work format, non-negotiation, so we'll see what happens there. Meantime, let's talk local news in terms of the TTC. We always love talking about that. And them potentially putting in bus lanes on a 7.1 kilometer stretch on Duffren between Eglinton and that Duffren loop.
So this is going to be super interesting to watch because this is a municipal issue, TTC. This debate has come up over and over and over again over the years as to whether they should have a dedicated bus lane. So, we spend a lot of time and a lot of energy talking about bike lanes, people blowing a gasket, so to speak, over bike lanes. This is a bus lane. So you would take a chunk of, so it's roughly Eglinton, maybe down to DuPont, or maybe even further down to Bloor, and say, we're going to actually put in a dedicated bus lane. All the local businesses along the city, there's no green peak, there's no parking option. So people won't be able to pull over, nip in. My business will be euchred. And this debate's going to unfold. And then, of course, looming in the background is the specter that part of what's motivating this is that they need to move squillions of people back and forth downtown for when the World Cup arrives. That just lights the lamp even brighter. People say, are you kidding me? For the World Cup for 3 weeks? Oh, and so this debate's going to unfold. I'll be watching to see if Doug Ford, who loves to be, the mayor of Toronto, the premier of Toronto, see if he jumps into this debate and decides whether or not he's going to declare it can or cannot occur.
It's going to be. I think it'll be hard for him to stay out of that one because he just seems to be so interested in Toronto politics and what
these
happens.
Pitches, man. You start talking about traffic in Toronto, and he just jumps to the camera.
Yeah. Meantime, one of his ministers, Stephen Lecce, meeting his federal counterpart as they sort of get some talk set up here. Interesting to see the energy because that's such a big part of our economy now too, of course, and the future.
New Natural Resources Minister Tim Hodgson was actually the chair of Hydro One, so knows the energy minister, knows the provincial scene quite well, and all of this comes having a meeting over the long weekend with, federal and provincial energy ministers here in Ontario. It comes in the context of Alberta saying, hey, we want to see energy infrastructure built, not now, but like yesterday. But then you've got last week a little bit of an internal controversy. Prime Minister says, to our very own CTV's Vashi Cavello says, listen, we want to move forward. And that means removing the hard cap on emissions. That means considering changes to Bill C-69. We want to move on pipelines. And his own minister from Quebec, Stephen Guilbeault, former environment minister, says we don't need any new pipelines. So I don't think this is a mistake that they were getting together. I think the new federal minister is sending a signal. We are moving. I expect to see he'll be meeting with other ministers of energy around the provinces and watch this space. It's going to be a big debate.
Hopefully that'll prevent Albertans from voting for a referendum in the future too.
We may be moving down that track as crackers as it sounds.
Yeah, it is crazy to think about that. Okay, Scott Reid, appreciate this. Good to see you as always in person. We'll see you back here next week.
All right,
Thanks,
see you guys.
Scott.
Have a great day.
Thanks.
Thank you.